Hi and welcome back to my channel. Back in the kitchen with the coffee machine, and absolutely desperately needed one this morning. I'll tell you why in a minute, because it's been a really good group, but quite stressful because of the topics we were talking about. I'm going to touch on that at the end when I do grouping results, but it's left me walking in the door wanting a coffee. When I woke up this morning, it was really early, I think about 5 o'clock. And I had a book to finish. I was reading a book called The Quaker by Liam somebody or other, a Scottish detective book. And I'd finished it by 5:30 and I was wide awake. I thought it's too early to get up and wake the rest of the household. So I had another book on my Audible list, and it was Gary Barlow's autobiography. Now, a wee while ago I read Robbie Williams' autobiography. I've always been a big fan of Robbie Williams and didn't really know anything about Gary Barlow. I knew that at some point in the history of Take That they fell out, and I knew that Robbie went off on a massive ego trip, and he says that himself in the book. That's not me judging him. And I've always liked him because he's a bit like the bad lad, you know, the tattooed naughty lad. That's, in my younger days, probably the kind of bloke I would have gone for. Anyway, I decided at about 20 to 6 this morning to start reading Gary Barlow's autobiography. And while I was lying in bed, I've been thinking, you know, it's Saturday, it's Slimming World, really, can I be bothered? Fancy doing something different? No, I need to go to group. You've got those mental games going on in your head. And I don't know if anybody else ever does this, but do you ever, I'm asking you, the individual watching this, do you ever think to yourself, if I'm meant to do this, come on God, universe, power, whatever, give me a sign. And I was lying there this morning, very much the morning after the night before, when I could have very easily come off plan, but chose not to. Lying there thinking, I'm not feeling this. I'm just not feeling Slimming World. Is it the time of year? Is it the time of my life? Is it the fact that I'm not doing as well as I think I should be doing? Come on God, give me a sign, you know? So I turn on Gary Barlow's book, and I'm very quickly into the book, and at the stage where Gary talks about the fact that he hit 17 stone 2 after the split up of Take That, and he got into a lot of self-loathing and self-hate and self-harm and different things. And by self-harm, I'm talking bulimia at that point. And I'm thinking, oh, talk about weight loss. It's interesting. The whole subject absolutely fascinates me, what we can do to ourselves and what we can choose to do to ourselves. So I'm I'm listening on, and then all of a sudden he mentions Slimming World. I did find myself actually laughing out loud, because I thought, okay God, I get the message. Yes, up there, universe, whatever, I get the message. Slimming World is where I need to be. And Gary actually talks about the fact that he used to sit in the semi-darkness in his little snug room at home in his 30-room mansion in Cheshire, reading Slimming World books in kind of poor light. He doesn't say whether he had a great deal of success with Slimming World. He does talk about the fact that he did it for a while. He talks about the fact that he got into the Atkins diet, and I think he used to swap between the two, because he talks about having Sunday lunch out, whereas one week it would be all meat, and the next week it would be chicken without the skin or meat without the fat, and no roast potatoes. I can have veg, but no roast potatoes because I'm on Slimming World. And it made me think about it. And I think something that I've been thinking about a lot this week, because of my situation this week, was food is just food. Stop trying to think. I've said this before, I know I hark back to old things, but stop trying to see it, Jane, as Slimming World food or non-Slimming World food. You know what you should be eating. You know what you shouldn't be eating. And it doesn't matter whether you call it Slimming World food, Weight Watchers food, Atkins food. Think of all the other plans you could have done over the years. Keto, high carb, low carb, no carb, whatever you call it, it's just food. And if I want to keep this weight off, and something that was said in group today really shook me, but if I want to keep this weight off, I know what I should be eating, and I know what I shouldn't be eating. I know where my triggers are. I know where my emotional eating kicks in and why. And it's time that I got back to actually invoking all of these things instead of trying to ignore them and thinking, not I can go away with it because I don't think I try that so much, but instead of thinking, this is just becoming mundane, I've got to get back onto that horse that says, you have a purpose. There is a reason behind doing this. In group this morning, Naomi mentioned, after a comment that somebody had made, 2 or 3 people that she had experienced in recent years who had lost all of their weight and got to target. And one gentleman was, I'm not going to mention how much they lost, I don't want you to identify these people, but one gentleman was Slimmer of the Year with a massive loss, or Man of the Year rather, with a massive loss, and a lady who made the magazines and everything else. And I've always been really grateful that that would never happen to me in Slimming World, because that puts too much pressure on. And those people have all regained, 3 that she mentioned, have all regained their weight. That shook me. But I don't know why it shook me, because I've done that myself so many times. And you know, I feel like sometimes I'm on the edge of doing it again, because whereas when I first lost all my weight and I got to this kind of size, and I appreciated the fact that I could walk into shops and buy a size 8, 10, 12, whatever, that novelty's wearing off. What am I going to do to keep myself going? That's the question I need to ask myself this week. What are you going to do to keep yourself going? Otherwise you're going to start going up. I am in a difficult place at the moment in some ways, because I feel like I'm in the upper 9 stones. And that, for a lot of people, must seem quite small. But for me, it's not where I want to be. And Slimming World does work, but only if I work it 100%. I've tried to do that this week. I haven't had the best of weeks, I haven't had the worst of weeks. I've had a couple of slips, but out of choice, not blaming anybody else for them. And waking on Sunday morning last week with the sorest of sore throats, feeling like, and I can still feel it in a way, but it's not sore anymore, but feeling like I'd swallowed 2 golf balls, and I guess it was kind of like tonsils. And found myself just not wanting food. I had no taste for food. Nothing tasted right. And I think I was on the verge of getting some sort of tonsillitis or laryngitis or something, but it never quite developed. But if I tell you this week I have eaten no sushi, people will know, who know me well, that that is very unusual, because I usually spend £6 a day on sushi, at least. So it's saved me money this week. I have drunk no milk this week, and I usually spend like £15-16 a week on milk, so that's saved me money again. But the reason I haven't is because I've had no taste. Like, I made a coffee last Saturday morning when I got back from group. When it came to drinking it, I thought, there's something wrong with this milk. Now, I knew it was a fresh litre of professional coconut milk. I know what it should taste like. It tasted of nothing. And that was how my week started. For Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and going into Thursday, nothing had any taste. But I needed to eat. Excuse me, because if I get into the I'm going to skip meals, that gets dangerous in my head. So, this has been quite my saviour this week. This is my breakfast, which I'm going to eat when I finish videoing. And in here is 400 grams or 400 mils of soya yogurt with mango in it, which is 2 sins and 2 Weetabix. And I made this before I went to group because it goes thick and it almost sets. Now, I've been eating this twice a day because I couldn't swallow anything else easily. I've also been drinking water all week rather than milky coffee, and I've been having 1 or maybe 2 black coffees a day. But I have actually been drinking water this week because it went down easier. This is just delicious. It's fabulous, I love it. Now, for my breakfast, this is 1 B choice, 2 sins. When I've been having it, excuse me, my throat's still bad, but when I've been having it again at lunchtime, for my lunch, it then is 8 sins. So the same meal can be 1 B choice and 2 sins, or 8 sins, which is 6 sins for the Weetabix and 2 for the yogurt. So all in all this week I have not gone over on my sins. I've had between 10 and 11.5 sins every day. so I haven't gone over on my sins. So even though I've not been eating the ideal food optimised meal at lunchtime, I've been having a lunch, even though it was a bit strange and it was the same as my breakfast. So I felt better for keeping that going. Right, what was I going to do? There was something on my list, right? I put something on my list, Joe, didn't I, that I was going to speak about?
Vitamin sticks.
Oh yeah, I wanted to show you these vitamin sticks that Joe buys, and I might actually start using them myself. But they're like little liquid pouches of a good variety of vitamins in there, aren't there, Joe?
Yeah, B5, B6, B12, C, D and zinc.
And it tastes like a tropical drink.
Yeah, like pineapple.
Yeah, so you mix it with 500 mils of water and make a drink of it, and it is like a liquid sachet.
It's quite strong if you do it with 500. I do it with a litre and it's fine.
Really?
Yeah,
You find it too strong?
Yeah, I think it's too strong.
But it recommends 500, doesn't
Yeah.
it? But we're not used to strong fruity drinks. How many calories in a sachet?
6.
6 calories, so perfectly acceptable on plan, and you can find them online. Is the company called VitSticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find them online, currently £3.19 as an introductory offer for a box of 10? 8?
10.
10, yeah. Yeah, so this week my food's been a little bit extraordinary, but I've still been within the confines or boundaries of the plan because of my sins and everything. I've still been having 2 A choices, I've still been having 1 B choice, but instead of having my A choices for 800 mils of milk, I've been having my A choices for cheese. So doubling up, some days I've had 90 grams of feta cheese because it's 45 for an A choice. Some days I've had 60 grams of the hard goat's cheese that we have from Marks and Spencer's. So I feel like, yeah, I could quite easily have gone the other way because not feeling 100%, having a crap throat and feeling like it was going to develop into something, but thank goodness it didn't. I could quite easily have eaten my feelings. When I don't feel 100%, that's a warning sign to me because that's when I want comfort. So I stuck to that all week and I've come out this morning at group with a 1.5 pound gain, which feels fine actually. I don't fear gains in the way I used to. I think what I fear is being out of control. And one of the things we were talking about in group this morning was mental health, because I think it's been Mental Health Week, is it? So it came up and we had this big whiteboard up and people were giving suggestions and things that they do for their mental health, combined with like weight loss and health and everything else. And I went into group feeling brilliant this morning, like feeling wide awake and quite positive, and my cup was half full and all this lot. I've come out of group feeling like my cup's half empty. I should feel sorry for myself because I'm blind. Life's really hard. Everybody's anxious. Social media is destroying people. This is stuff that's come up in group this morning, which has been really, really interesting. But it just shows you how easily I can soak up other people's feelings and other people's thoughts and ideas. And the one thing I did say at the end of it is something that I am trying to practice is not comparing myself with others. Because when I sit in that group and I listen to the problems that people have got, and I don't think there's one of us that doesn't have some form of troubles, difficulties or anxieties, but when I listen to all that, I have to be grateful that I'm not a total sponge. Because I think what I used to do a long time ago, in the near past, was soak up other people's problems as an excuse to eat over them. Now I need to really be mindful about looking at where I am in my life today, only today, trying not to forecast too much into the future because there's stuff ahead of me that I could fret about, but I'll wait till it gets here. There's a lot of stuff behind me that I could get upset about, but all in all, there's absolutely no point to any of that because all I've got is today, which just happens to be Saturday the 13th of October 2019. This day will never come again. It will never come again. And coming out of group thinking, oh my God, don't people have hard lives? Yeah, people do. And that could be said for most of us, I think, at times. But me taking those problems home with me is not going to help my week this week. I don't think there's anything big on the horizon this week. It's a very ordinary week for me this week. This past week we've got in quite a bit more walking, didn't we, Joe?
Yeah.
We did some really good hill walks even. We did some really good hill walks this week. And I'll tell you something, when I get out of the habit of walking, or when I just gain, like I'm half a stone heavier than I'd really like to be, but when I'm carrying that extra half a stone, I don't fly up those hills anymore, do I, Joe? I mean, tell them, this is funny, this is not meant to be nasty, but tell them what you were calling me as I was chugging up the hill.
I'm trying to motivate you.
Go on then, what were you calling me?
Porky.
Yeah, I'm chugging up the hill this week. He's flying up the hill. And he'd been to the gym, and he'd been to work, and he was up at the crack of dawn. So I'm chugging up the hill, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I might only be carrying an extra half stone, but bloody Nora, I can feel it. And he's like, come on, Porky. Oh, it's a good job, I love him. Come on, Porky. Get moving, fatso. That was another one. Have you thought about having another tattoo, Mum? Because it's something we've been talking about lately. I am seriously considering having another tattoo. Have you thought about having another tattoo, Mum? Perhaps you could have wide load. And was it... were there any others, Joe?
No,
I think that was about it. That's his way of motivating me to get half a stone off. We did laugh. And if laughter burns calories, we burnt quite a few, didn't we? But, yeah, it's been one of those weeks when life has been a bit harder because I didn't feel 100%. But even running at 85%, I can't say I've got a bad life. It's all about choices for me. And this week, I need to make better choices. I've got to stop falling back on having that again for my lunch because my throat is sore. I'm sure I could have found soup or something. But you see, I get a bit worried about soup. I've got a soup maker, I'll make soup. What the hell do you have with it? I cannot just have a bowl of soup. It's no more to me. It's no more filling to me than a mug of coffee. And then I get into the, what do I want with soup? I know what I want with soup. I want a tiger loaf cut in thick slices and buttered or plastered with Lurpak. That's eating soup to me. And I'm not a meat eater. I love it when I see other people say, oh, I have sliced meat with it, I have sausage with it, other people at group talk about this. Oh, well, I cooked a couple of the light and lean Asda gluten-free sausages or whatever they are, or a couple of the Linda McCartney rosemary and red onion sausages. In my head, sausage don't go with soup, bread goes with soup, so I have to be a bit, I am so, I don't know, I know what I want, and it's got to be something I love, and it's got to be something I enjoy. That's why I don't eat salad very often, because I don't love it, I don't enjoy it. And soup, I'm thinking at the moment, come on Jane, think of a way of eating soup that doesn't involve bread. Maybe I just need to make bigger chunkier soups. I find if I make soup in the soup maker and I dice my vegetables really small, it cooks nicely. But I think I might have a go at making it in the pan this week and doing my vegetables a wee bit bigger. I need something I can chew to fill me up. So yeah, that's me waffling. Can't think of anything else I've got to tell you this week. Haven't done anything majorly exciting. Haven't even been shopping this week. So you can tell I haven't been 100% because there's some brilliant sales on in town and I haven't even been shopping. So might make up for that this week. Thanks for being there. Sorry if I've waffled a bit. Tell me if you find me boring because sometimes I just think to myself, do you really want to hear this? But it's so nice to know you've got friends out there who you can relate to and people who actually feedback how they're doing. I don't like to feel I'm in this on my own. I don't like to put myself under any pressure. And I don't like to think that I'm coming on here every week and doing you or myself a disservice. I need to get back to focusing first and foremost on the plan and living the dream. And that's where I'm at this week. That's where I'm going between now and next Saturday. I'm going to live the dream. Okay, thanks for being there. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good week. Bye.